Welcome to the Chapel Thrill Podcast with Hunter Caparelli and J.J. Jones.
Veesaar switches onto him. Dixon the kick. Trimble! Got it! And Carolina wins it!
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? Welcome to the 8th edition of the Chapel Thrill Pod, your home for all things Carolina basketball. I'm Hunter Caparelli, sideline reporter, studio host, analyst for ACC Network Extra. Joining me is my co-host, former UNC football wide receiver J.J. Jones. Since we last aired our last episode, the Tar Heels took care of business at home against Syracuse. It got a little testy down the stretch after leading by 32, but the Heels were able to take care of business. And then last Saturday, UNC welcomed their longtime rival Duke for a top 15 showdown in the Dean Dome, and it was everything fans could have anticipated. We'll break down the Heels' performances in their past two games, specifically that Duke game, and we'll preview their next couple conference games as well, which includes a couple big games on the road against Miami and NC State. So let's get into it. JJ, we were both boots on the ground in Chapel Hill this past Saturday for the Duke game. Just what are your initial thoughts from the buzzer beater win over Duke?
4 words. Go to hell, Duke, man. I mean, like you said, this is what fans wanted to see. I know the game wasn't the way that we wanted it to go for probably 99% of the game, honestly. That last 3 was the only lead we had against Duke in that game. But I think it was an amazing game for UNC fans and college basketball fans in general, just to show y'all what the rivalry really is like and what it means to Chapel Hill. Being on Franklin Street when everybody rushed, I think that was an amazing opportunity for a lot of students, a lot of people that were just in the area. But I mean, you couldn't script this any better with a guy like Seth hitting that 3. We'll get into it a little bit later, but again, historic moment. He's going to go down in the history books for a very long time.
I think that Seth Trimble three-pointer, it'll, like you said, go down in Carolina Duke history. But, you can't forget the Derek Dixon incredible pass to find him wide open in the corner that gave UNC the three-point win, when it's currently believed to be the only buzzer beater win in recent memory. We talked about it right before the show. Luke May beating Kentucky, which was like, there are a couple tenths of a second left in that game. There's a couple tenths of a second left in this game, which actually led to 2 separate court stormings, which was pretty amusing. I mean, this has never happened before at the Smith Center. We saw ourselves 20,000 people live on Franklin Street. UNC hadn't defeated Duke, and I saw it was about 650 days since Carolina got swept last year. That was including a loss in the ACC tournament. They went 0-3 against Duke last year. So over 600 days since Carolina had beat Duke, and UNC fans, you could tell just the raw emotion. They were ecstatic after leading by just 0.4 seconds. That was it. They were losing the whole game. The Trimble 3 in the corner made the difference. Just what are your thoughts on Trimble, 4-year veteran, senior leader of this team, hitting just this biggest shot of his career?
Man, Seth is my guy. Once I became a starter on the UNC football team, I think it was his freshman year, so my sophomore year, we met each other. Real cool dude. So we've always been cool since then, and it's really awesome to see another guy. I'm really big on loyalty. I stayed at UNC for all 4 of my years playing college football, and I've had some pretty big moments, but he's clearly passed me for sure in big moments in Carolina history. But like Coach Hubert Davis said, it was just right. This was the kind of person that you wanted to make that three-pointer. A lot of people have always doubted Seth's shooting ability, and I think that kind of showed them what he has done. I know he's shooting 40. I believe he's shooting 44% in the ACC play right now, which is amazing for a guy like him. He's made a lot of great strides recently. And again, like you said, a 4-year guy at UNC. He never left during the NIL era. He wanted to stay at UNC. I mean, think of just the story. He broke his wrist early in the season. He missed a lot. He missed some games. Everyone's wanting him to come back, seeing what he was going to do. And he comes out against Duke. He had a great game anyways, but that three right there is what cemented his name in the UNC history.
Carolina, like I mentioned, led for just zero point 0.4 seconds in their win. It's the smallest amount of time led in a win in D1 this season. And it's also North Carolina's shortest lead in the last 8 seasons to win a game. The 13-point comeback was also UNC's largest over Duke in at least 25 years. And I want to take fans back a couple of minutes before that buzzer beater. It wasn't looking great down the stretch. The Heels were down 6 with just over 2 minutes left. Things were looking a little bleak. And then the Heels proceeded to go on a 13-4 run to close the game out on a 9-0 stretch. In addition to Dixon having that last second pass to an open Trimble in the corner, the freshman also had a giant three-pointer 2 minutes before that to get the lead to 3, the deficit to 3. Henri Veesaar ended up tying it with a 3 of his own, and then the Trimble 3 to put them in front. I particularly was really fascinated by the camera look of Roy Williams in his usual seat. They had replays of him getting hands on knees, pumping fist, yelling at the team to get a stop. Fans were feeding off his energy. I just love seeing, former coaches like Roy in the stands, really just putting all 22,000 fans into a frenzy. JJ, just what were your thoughts and feelings on that final 2 minutes when things weren't looking great, but then just a miracle 9-0 run to finish the game?
I think like every UNC fan, I was praying, man. It was such a close game towards the end. It was going back and forth. It was a heavyweight battle. I think a big part of that was the fact that Big Pat for Duke fouled out early in the second half. They had a bunch of fouls. Duke was in a lot of foul trouble. I think Caleb Wilson had a game of games, which we all thought he was going to have. I know we talked about last week on the pod that we wanted Veesaar to be a little bit more involved. I know he went scoreless in the first half, came out and played way better in the second half. I know Hubert probably got into him a little bit saying that we need you to score, we need you to make some points. He came out in the second half and did that. Derek Dixon played the point guard role to perfection. We talked about guard play, and this is what we needed in these clutch moments. I mean, that pass was great, but he was making all the right passes throughout the game. He was playing great defense. He was knocking down shots, and I think that's what we needed to come through. But again, like it was just one of those games that it was just emotion. Like I said, these rivalry games are based on emotion. It's not the X's and O's. It's just who goes out there and plays harder. And I think Duke in the first half definitely played way harder. They played more aggressive. They played stronger. They played better. But the Tar Heels came out in the second half, saw that this was their home court. This was their time to shine, and they came out in the second half with a whole different energy. And they did the thing, especially in that last 2 minutes.
Yeah. Obviously, it can't be forgotten Caleb Wilson's performance. The Heels wouldn't have even been in a position to win the game if it wasn't for him. He had 23 points, 17 in that first half. They were down 41-29 going into the locker room. If it wasn't for Caleb's 17 first half points, they could have been down by 20 plus potentially. Veesaar, like you mentioned, went scoreless in the first half, but came out, ended up finishing with 13 and 11. So he was definitely a vital factor in the comeback win. I think one of the best nights of his life. Trimble finished with 16. It was his career high against Duke. Carolina's poor start put them in a hole. Duke had built an 18-5 lead on the back of great offensive execution. Duke actually scored on every possession until Veesaar got called for a travel with 12:50 in the first half. If a team is coming out that hot, you obviously got to just hope for the best. And because they were scoring on every single possession, it led to a large deficit in rebounding. Duke dominated the glass early at the 11-minute mark. Every single Tar Heel had a combined 0 rebounds. I thought that fact was fascinating. The only UNC board to that point had been a team rebound. If a team is hitting all their shots, it's tough to get rebounds. But the Heels persevered. It's what they've done all season. It's why they have wins over teams like Kentucky, Kansas, and now Duke. And I think that perseverance is going to help them get through the rest of ACC play and going into tournament play. JJ, what about this team's perseverance is kind of forming their identity this year?
Especially, yeah, absolutely. Especially in these late games, we've seen a lot of perseverance come out. I know we're talking about this Duke game. I want to go back to
Mm.
the Syracuse game.
Yeah,
Um, they're up 32 points and they kind of take their foot off the gas.
a little
They
bit.
let Syracuse come back, get in when they had about 6 points. And I know everybody there was, you know, hoping that we weren't going to lose. I mean, I knew we weren't going to lose, but it was a very close game. And it kind of made me a little nervous for this Duke game because I saw that and I was like, if we let a Syracuse team like this come back from 32 points and make this a close game, I'm worried that if we get down big against Duke, that they'll just be able to continue to put the foot on the gas. And we didn't see that.
Mhm.
The UNC kept playing, they kept playing, they kept playing. They made all the right calls. Big shout out to Hubert Davis. I know a lot of people say he's on the hot seat, but I think he made a lot of great adjustments in the second half coming out
Well,
there. A lot of defensive adjustments that I saw. And again, he just told the guys that, we are here for a reason. This is our court. This is our team. This is our story. Don't compare this team to any other teams. I know I've always said that, and I've always thought about these past UNC teams, but this team is just completely different.
mhm.
This isn't going to be like our past UNC teams. They're going to play a lot differently. The play style is different. But at the end of the day, man, they played really hard, and that's the most thing I'm excited about.
We've had guests come on our show and criticize Coach Davis a little bit about his X's and O's style of coaching, but he put that to the test when he calls a timeout with 10 seconds left, tie ball game. His drawn play was played out to perfection. He had Dixon come off the screen, the defense collapsed, and it led to an open Trimble in the corner. I think Coach Davis definitely has to get credit for not only drawing that play up, but just the overall just adjustments throughout the game. You're down 12 points at halftime, 13 overall with 10 minutes left in the game. His adjustments, his subbing strategy, deciding who to go where, which players you want to scheme together. I think Hubert Davis needs a ton of credit for that win. You go back to the first half, Duke was tightening down on Wilson. He took a questionable three-pointer. They were up one with 7 minutes left in the half, and the Heels attempted 10 field goals over the remainder of the half, and only one of those shots were by Wilson. He ended up making a pull-up jumper to keep it, as close as 12. Out of the 9 non-Wilson shot attempts, UNC had only made one of them. So you add in a couple of those Duke three-pointers that they hit at the end of the first half. That's why the Devils had a bigger edge at halftime. We're going to talk more about this game, but we're going to take a quick break here. On the other side of the break, we're going to bring in one of the players from the team who's been around the locker room. The last 48 hours have been a whirlwind, as I can only imagine. So after the break, we're going to talk to him, hear the emotions, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. As you can see now on your screen, we welcome back a guest from one of our prior episodes, Elijah Davis, son of head coach Hubert Davis, after the monumental rival win over Duke last Saturday. Elijah, just jumping right into it, how the last 48 hours have been since was essentially one of the biggest wins over Duke in recent history, and I'm assuming the biggest win of that have you been a part of?
Yeah, it's been nuts. I still can't believe it. I keep rewatching videos from that night. Really just rushing Franklin. That 45 minutes that I was on Franklin, 45 minutes to an hour that I was on Franklin, after the game is something I'll never forget. Just being on top of the hill, overlooking everyone, jumping up in the crowd just with random people, like just super hyped. Picking up my little brother in the crowd, like I found him. Like it's just stuff like that. Like it happens nowhere else but here. And to have those memories and everything, especially with some of my best friends from my old school who came down, like it's something I'll never forget.
Yeah. I want to add in the fact that you're actually in Miami. The team is playing the Hurricanes tomorrow night, so definitely a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Literally within 48 hours, you guys are already, in Florida, already getting prepared for a big ACC road game. I want you to take us back to that final possession. Hubert calls a timeout. What was he telling you guys during the timeout, and what did you see from the sideline as that final play was unfolding?
I didn't really see what was going on, I think I was so like amazed that, it was like I couldn't believe that like, it was a tie game and like we had the ball, but like I knew it was game time. As soon as we got the ball back, I knew it was over. I didn't know who was gonna make the play, but just when Derek, I know like the entire game, we've been trying to, attack Boozer and everything, and so we got the switch that we wanted, and then Derek made a great play, made an unbelievable pass, and gave it to the perfect guy to hit that shot. And so yeah, I'm glad I didn't black out during that moment. I remember pretty vividly everything that happened, and it's something again I'll never forget.
Yeah, JJ was talking about Seth earlier in the show, so I know he'll definitely want to hop in here and definitely ask about that final shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh my bad. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no, my bad, my bad. So I thought I had to answer that. My fault.
Is that a question, Hunter?
No, I say I know you'd probably definitely want to hop in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I was talking about, Seth being a guy who's been here for 4 years, especially in the NIL era. He hasn't left. He's been a veteran on this team. He's missed a few games. Just being his teammate, how do you think his emotions felt after the game, making that shot, and just what do you think was just going through his head? Just because this is the perfect guy to make that shot at the end of the game.
Uh, I mean, I could just I to be honest, he was just regular old Seth. Just but at the same time, I think him just being able to, have that moment for him. I know his dad went to the crowd and gave him a hug, which was, I mean, that's something they'll never forget. To have that special moment between father and son. Same thing I got with my dad after the game. Just something like that, some those are things you'll never forget. Being with your family. I know he had a lot of people at the game that mean a lot to him. So for him to hit that shot and his 4 years here haven't been easy. And so for him to hit that shot, it's just unbelievable, and I'm so happy for him.
Does the rivalry feel different during the game, or does it really not hit until the final buzzer goes off and it's over?
It's definitely different. I think the buzz felt different than last year.
Yeah.
And now like it's real. Especially after how the game ended, with the court storming, with
Double court
people,
storming.
yeah, double court storming. That was insane. With the people in Duke not pleased with a couple things. It's just setting up for something, for a great game in a very intense game in Durham. Uh, but something we've talked about already, is that we want to get that kill shot. Um, Back in Durham, we're not satisfied with just beating them once.
Right. We saw a couple of videos surface on social media from the locker room after the game. Was that just, pure chaos, or were emotions sinking in pretty quickly once everyone got back to the locker room?
Man, it was nuts. I couldn't like I was in awe. I was like it was insane. We were just all jumping around, throwing water, pushing each other, giving each other high fives, hugs. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Playing music. I mean, it was a moment I'll never forget. Just being around with my teammates, just celebrating, those moments, you don't get those everywhere. And so,
Yeah, I mean, JJ's probably been in similar situations like that, so
Nothing
definitely.
like that. I've had some big games,
Well,
but nothing like that. We yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's nothing that can potentially, like, you can't even imagine or fathom how that game unfolded and concluded. You guys are now 14-0 at home, resume wins over Kansas, Kentucky, Duke. What does this Duke win specifically say about this team's identity right now, Elijah?
that were extremely tough and resilient. That West Coast trip was obviously not as expected, and we're extremely disappointed. We're still embarrassed by what we displayed, but I think everything happens for a reason, and that kind of woke us up in terms of what we need to do. And for me to say that, like, we played like a really, really good game against Duke, I'd be lying. Like, there's so many things we could have done better. Like, I can't even say we played great. against Duke, and we still ended up winning. We made the plays at the end, but we have so much more in the tank. Uh, and we haven't, and we showed it in spurts, but we haven't fully showed it for a full 40 minutes. And so, just for confidence, though, just for us to get that win and to have that moment with all of us, it's bled into our last two practices. We've had two really good practices. It's been more focused than physical, but we've been really locked in, high energy, and we can't overlook Miami at all. They're one of the most talented teams in the ACC, and uh, they're really really good. Especially watching film,
Yeah.
they're super talented, and so I think we're ready tomorrow, ready to compete.
I think they're definitely an underrated team in the ACC, even though they're not ranked. They definitely played well. I want to let JJ hop back in here, see if he's got any other questions. Well, I
Yeah, I
just
know we talked about right before you got on. How quick of a turnaround was it? I know it's a really big win. You guys celebrated. I know you guys had fun, and now you're back Monday night in Miami. You got a game tomorrow. How quick was the turnaround? What's this team's focus right now? I know you said it's more of a focus practice instead of being physical, but what's the mindset in the locker room right now? Because being an athlete, you don't want to be too high in emotion after a big game, so you guys have to kind of bring it down. But how's the locker room been, and what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we got into the film room, Coach Davis, he told us, "Hey, look, like, we gotta move forward. Like, we gotta flush this game away. Immediately. Like, this game has to be put away right now, and our focus has to be on Miami. And we have our attention to detail, our energy, the process of what we need to do, get ready for this game has been really, really good. Uh, and so, it's obviously a really quick turnaround, and it's kind of hard because you do want to like savor this moment, but this basketball is quick turnaround. You can't. I think. To be honest, we haven't really talked about the game much in the locker room either. We've just been focused by just continuing to build relationships and messing around and just getting ready for Miami. And so
yeah,
that's
I mean,
been it.
you mentioned that looking ahead, you guys have Miami tomorrow. Malik Marino has been playing well for them. He's averaging about 20 a game. Trey Donaldson has had a resurgent season. You guys play the Hurricanes tomorrow night, and then your one matchup against State on Saturday. It's obviously not as big a rivalry with Duke, but still a pretty big rivalry. What are you guys looking to prove over the remainder of ACC play with ACC tournament season about a month out from now?
Um, the entire thing, our motto has been just us, and so that's something that we live by is just us 16 guys, uh, just focusing on how we can prove ourselves right. We know that we truly believe we're the best team in the country, and we need to prove ourselves right every single night, and we need to play with that sense of urgency and effort, and together, the way that we know how to, in a way that we've displayed multiple times this year. Uh, and we know that we haven't even really became close to what we really can be for a full 40 minutes. So really just trying to prove ourselves right. That we know that who we are and know what we can become.
For the State game, do you consider that a rivalry?
Yeah, of course. It's people can say no, it's not a rivalry. I mean, obviously it's a one-sided rivalry, but it's a rivalry.
I hate
So,
him. I hate him. I can't stand State,
oh
man.
no, 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 I hate State more than Duke. 110%. I hate State more than Duke. Yeah, this it's gonna be you'll see it on TV. You'll see how heated it gets. There's I don't want to say too much, but it's gonna be heated for sure. There's been a lot of chatter. Especially on my end. So I'm ready for that game for sure.
Totally. Jay, do you have any
No,
last questions before we wrap this
yeah.
up?
I know we talk about guys like Caleb, Veesaar, Derek Dixon. I mean, just the games he's had the past few weeks has just been insane. We really didn't have an understanding of who he was early in the beginning of the year, but as a guy in the locker room, how has he carried himself knowing that from the beginning of the season he wasn't getting a lot of burn, and now he's making the best pass that we've seen probably in a long time. to hit Seth in the corner to hit that three, and just the strides he's making becoming the starting point guard.
Derek, man, Derek is so even killed. Something that I didn't really know until he really got put in that position. Against Kentucky is like when it comes down to 5 minutes, man, he wants the ball in his hands. Like he doesn't shy away from it. He's not scared of it. He wants to take every single last shot. He wants the ball in his hands to make a play. And to have a freshman that is so poised and so like calm and just so confident in himself, but also like confident but humble at the same time. It's the perfect thing that we need for this team. Um, just the energy that he brings. He's a leader. He's become so much more of a leader on the court as well. I think you can see in the Virginia game where he was telling Henri and Kale to box out. Just him dapping up people, getting people in line. He's still a freshman. He still makes
Right.
freshman mistakes, but to say, uh, he's gonna be really, really, really good for a long time. And to have a dude like that is that good, but also just that good of a human being, is just absolutely amazing. The fact that we have these three freshmen that are that good basketball players, but also like 100 out of 10 people is so rare, and I don't know if it'll ever happen again.
I think some fans forget how long a season is, especially for freshmen who are coming right out of high school. They haven't even experienced a full college season, and you're seeing it with someone like Derek, just the room of improvement. His ceiling is so high. You could tell as a fan from the outside, and I bet with being a teammate of his. One of my last questions before we wrap things up. I just want to go back to the Duke game. Where did that win rank for you personally? Like your entire career, obviously, the history of the rivalry. Would it be number one throughout your entire career?
I don't. The only way it could be bumped off of number one, uh, if we win the ACC championship,
Yeah.
no, that'd still be number two. I think. I don't
Yeah.
know. If we get to a Final Four, like it's got to be Final
Yeah.
Four,
It would have,
championship.
right.
Those will be number one. But like, it's number one. It's by a long shot. In all honesty, like that thing was crazy. It was unbelievable. It was bonkers. I'm still replaying the night in my head. I still can't believe everything that happened. Yeah, for sure, number one. No doubt about that.
A night no UNC fans will surely ever forget. JJ, you have any final questions for Elijah before we end the
No, man,
show?
I'm good. Just appreciate you for coming back on.
Yeah.
We know we don't want to take too much of your time. We know you got a big game tomorrow, but again, we appreciate you hopping on the pod and
Yeah.
showing us love after the game as well.
For sure. Appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, that's going to do it for the 8th episode of the Chapel Throw Pod. We'll be back to provide our thoughts and opinions on UNC's performances against Miami tomorrow night, and then the big rivalry, not as big as Duke, but still a rivalry game against NC State on Saturday. Some big, massive resume building opportunities for Elijah Davis, JJ Jones. I'm Hunter Caparelli. As always, go Heels.
Go to hell state.
Yo.
Go to hell state.